Enggak, sampah plastik yang paling serius mendapatkan perhatian.
Ya benar, sampah plastik ini terus meningkat setiap tahunnya. Diharapkan pemerintah bisa menemukan solusi untuk mengurangi produksi
tak
sampah.
dibarengi dengan pengelolaan sampah yang bertanggung jawab sehingga plastik
Everyone wants to live in a clean, comfortable, and well-organized environment. Very few people intentionally wish to live in a dirty or neglected place. Most of us understand that cleanliness is important. We also understand that maintaining the environment is a shared responsibility. However, in everyday life, there are still many situations that show how this understanding is not always reflected in our actions. Waste can still be found in many places. Rules that are created collectively are not always followed, and shared facilities are not always maintained properly. At first glance, these situations may seem ordinary. Many people even consider them normal. However, when observed more carefully, they reveal important values that can be analyzed and discussed. In the Character and Psychological Building course, students learn about responsibility, integrity, ethics, manners, logical thinking, and awareness of sustainable development. These values are not only relevant in the classroom but are also reflected in daily behavior and interaction within society. Through simple observation conducted in a boarding house environment, on campus, and in surrounding public areas, this documentary explores how these values are demonstrated in real-life situations. Because sometimes, major social issues can be seen through very small everyday phenomena. One of the interesting findings from this observation is the existence of rules regarding cleanliness. In the boarding house, residents are provided with a cleaning duty schedule. The purpose of this schedule is straightforward. It's designed to maintain cleanliness and ensure a comfortable environment for everyone. The existence of such rules show that both the management and residents understand the importance of cleanliness. Logically speaking, the system is quite simple. If every resident completes their assigned tasks according to the schedule, the workload is shared fairly. No single person has to carry the entire responsibility, and everyone contributes according to their role. However, during the observations, several conditions suggest that these rules were not always implemented consistently. Some areas appeared less maintained, certain waste had not been removed, and some shared space were not carried for as expected. This observation raises an important question. If the rules already exist, why do the problems still occur? This question is significant because it highlights that having rules alone is not enough to create change. The effectiveness of any rule depends largely on the willingness of individuals to follow it. One way to understand this phenomenon is through logical analysis. Based on the observations, the problem doesn't appear to be caused by a lack of rules. The rule already exists, the information is available, the cleaning schedule has been established. Therefore, logically, the main obstacle is not a lack of knowledge. A more reasonable explanation is the gap between knowing what should be done and actually doing it. The situation is not uncommon in everyday life. A person may know that littering is wrong, yet that knowledge does not always translate into appropriate behavior. A person may understand that cleanliness is a shared responsibility, yet they may not actively participate in maintaining it. From a logical perspective, this observation suggests that behavioral change requires more than information alone. It also requires awareness, commitment, and consistent action. Understanding why is important. However, meaningful change occurs only when the understanding is transformed into behavior. The phenomenon observed is closely related to the concept of responsibility. Responsibility can be defined as a person's willingness to fulfill their obligations. In a shared environment, responsibility plays a crucial role because the action of one individual often affects others. When someone performs their cleaning duties according to the agreed schedule, the benefits are shared by everyone. The environment becomes cleaner, the facilities become more comfortable to use, and the workload is distributed fairly. However, when those responsibilities are ignored, the consequences are also shared. The environment becomes less pleasant, cleanliness declines, and the burden shifts to a smaller number of individuals. These observations demonstrate that responsibility is not merely a personal matter, it is also an expression of care and consideration for the wider community. Another important concept reflected in this observation is integrity. Integrity is often defined as the consistency between one's values and one's actions. A person may say that cleanliness is important. A person may agree with environmental rules. However, integrity becomes visible only when those beliefs are translated into action. For example, by completing assigned responsibilities, by maintaining cleanliness even when nobody is watching, and by choosing to do the right thing without external pressure. In daily life, integrity is rarely tested through dramatic decisions. Instead, it is often reflected through small actions repeated consistently over time. For these reasons, the observation in this documentary provide a simple example of how integrity can be demonstrated in everyday situations. The observed phenomena can also be connected to ethics and manners. Manners are not only reflected in the way people speak, they are also reflected in how people treat their environment and those around them. Returning items to their proper place, maintaining shared facilities, and avoiding actions that create additional burdens for others are all examples of social etiquette. The observation also relates to the ethics. Ethics helps individuals determine what actions ought to be taken in social life. In this context, maintaining cleanliness can be viewed as a form of respect for the rights of others to enjoy a healthy and comfortable environment. Therefore, cleanliness is not simply a technical issue, it is also connected to moral values and social responsibility. The phenomenon observed is not limited to the boarding house environment. During the observation process, waste was also found in several locations around campus and nearby public spaces. Although the available documentation is limited, its presence suggests that cleanliness is not an issue confined to a single location. Instead, it is a broader social issue that can be found in many shared spaces. These observations indicate that environmental quality is strongly influenced by the behavior of those who use the space. The more people care about their surroundings, the better the condition of the environment. Conversely, when concern decreases, environmental quality tends to decline as well. This demonstrates how individual actions collectively shape public space. In addition to cleanliness issues, the observation also revealed that widespread use of single-use plastic. In many daily transactions, plastic remains the primary packaging material. It is used for shopping bags, food packaging, drinks containers, and many other everyday purposes. This is understandable because plastic is inexpensive, practical, and easily available. However, this convenience also produces a significant amount of waste. According to information published through Indonesia's National Waste Management Information System, managed by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, plastic waste remains one of the major components of waste generation in Indonesia. The findings observed during this documentary reflect a similar pattern. Many of the waste items found in the environment consisted of plastic packaging and disposable products. These observations demonstrate that everyday consumption habits are directly connected to the environmental condition. The observations presented in this documentary are closely related to the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. According to Indonesia's National Development Planning Agency, known as Bappenas, the SDGs are a global framework designed to create a more sustainable future. Several SDGs are relevant to the issue observed. The first is SDGs 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. This goal emphasizes the importance of creating safe, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable living environments. The second is SDG 12, Responsible Consumptions and Productions. The continued reliance on single-use plastic highlights the need for more responsible consumption patterns. Through these observations, it becomes clear that sustainable development is not only about government policies or large-scale projects, it is also influenced by everyday decisions made by individuals. Simple actions can contribute to broader sustainability goals. In the end, this documentary is not simply about waste. Waste is only the visible aspect of a large issue, and what matters more is what can be learned from this presence. The observations reveal how everyday situations can be connected to value discussed in the character and pedagogical building course. Responsibility, integrity, ethics, manners, logical thinking, and awareness of sustainable development. The findings suggest that the greatest challenge is often not the absence of rules or information. Rules already exist, information is already available, yet meaningful change occurs only when knowledge is transformed into action. Ultimately, a person's character is not defined solely by what they know. Character is reflected in what they consistently choose to do. And perhaps meaningful change does not always begin with major policies or large-scale initiatives. Sometimes it begins with small decisions made every day, keeping shared spaces clean, respecting others, and taking responsibility for the environment we all share. Knowing what is right is only the first step. Doing what is right is what truly makes the difference. After observing the boarding house environment and the surrounding public space, our attention was directed toward how people behave in shared environments. We saw how rules were created, how responsibilities were distributed, and how small decisions could affect the comfort and well-being of many people. However, after leaving the space, another important question arises. Do the values we have discussed only apply when other people are watching? Is responsibility something that exists only when there are written rules? Or do these values remain important even when we are alone in our own personal space? Every person lives in a different environment. Some people live in boarding house and share facilities with others. Some live with their families. Others live independently and manage their own daily responsibilities. Although these environments may differ, the values required to maintain them remain the same. Responsibility, discipline, respect, and care for the surroundings in which we live. At home, these values may appear through simple actions: cleaning the space we use, watering and taking care of plants, turning off lights when they are no longer needed, using water wisely, disposing of waste properly, or helping with household tasks without being repeatedly reminded. These actions may seem ordinary. They may not receive praise or recognition. In many cases, no one noticed them at all. Yet it is often through these ordinary moments that character becomes visible. Character is not only revealed through major decisions made during extraordinary circumstances. More often, character is reflected in the small choices we make every single day. It can be seen in how we respond to responsibilities that nobody forced us to fulfill. It can be seen in what we choose to do when there is no supervision, no reward, and no audience. There is only a decision to act or to ignore. In everyday life, many people wait for change to come from outside themselves. We hope for stricter regulations. We expect better systems. We wish that other people would become more disciplined and responsible. However, meaningful change often begins with personal decisions. The decisions not to postpone our responsibilities. The decision to complete tasks that belong to us. The decisions to care for the environment closest to us. A comfortable and healthy environment is rarely created through a single extraordinary effort. Instead, it is built through small actions that are repeated consistently over time. The habit of being responsible, the habit of being considerate, the habit of respecting others through concrete actions. Through these simple observations, we learn that environmental issues are not only about waste, cleanliness, or public facilities. Ultimately, they lead us to a deeper discussions about human behavior itself. They encourage us to reflect on how we make decisions, how we understand responsibility, how we balance personal convenience with the well-being of others, and how our repeated choices gradually shape who we become. Perhaps we cannot change everyone around us. Perhaps we cannot solve every environmental problem that exists in society. But we still have control over our own actions. We can choose where to begin. We can begin with the room we occupy, with the house in which we live, with the habits we practice every day. Because, in the end, a good environment is not created merely by the existence of rules. A good environment is created by individuals who are willing to take responsibility for the space they inhabit. And perhaps, character building is not about doing something extraordinary once in a lifetime. Perhaps character building is the willingness to do ordinary things in the right way, consistently and sincerely. If each person begins with themselves and with the space closest to them, then larger change become possible. A cleaner environment, a more responsible society, and communities built upon mutual respect do not emerge overnight. They are shaped through countless small decisions made every single day. Knowing what is right is important, choosing to do what is right again and again is what truly builds character. Through this observation, I learned that responsibility, integrity, ethics, and manners are not only concepts discussed in class. They are values that can be practiced through simple actions in everyday life. Thank you for watching.